Hello and welcome to the Pintcast. Today I'm joined by Taylor Hall, branch manager of Arsenal Los Angeles. Welcome to the show, Taylor.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you back.
Yeah, great to be here as always.
It's great to be top of the table. Great for Arsenal to be really killing it. It really is a shame that after the long run of wins, we have to do this after the first time we drop points. But you know what? It's still pretty good at the top,
Well, we'll find a way to manage today.
Absolutely. 4 points on top of the table ahead of Manchester City. It's good. A good time to be a Gooner. It's been a good run.
Yeah, lately it's, I always look back on like the last several years of being a Gooner, and there were certainly very dark moments, and I try not to think about them as much, and when we're winning the way that we are lately, aside from this weekend, it's pretty easy to put that in the rear view, very far in the rear view.
Yeah, no one wants to think back to the Puma days and the way we played in those kits, Emery, everything else. Yeah, it's all better in the rearview mirror.
Certainly is, and we're just looking like a real formidable opponent, and I think more importantly, one that will be formidable for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and they don't particularly look like a well-oiled machine at the moment, but they look like a juggernaut of a machine. No one wants to play us. That's you've seen the odd changes in Champions League. All of a sudden, we're one of the top favorites. When the fuck was the last time that happened?
Yeah, I mean it's sort of crazy. I think we talk to Arsenal fans all of the time, so we know how we feel internally. But when it comes to opposition fans, I think that gives you a really awesome idea of where we are in sort of the global football ecosystem. My friends that are Chelsea supporters or United supporters, they don't really want to go anywhere near us ever, which is lovely.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about that. They been a rough season for a lot of those guys. The Liverpool fans have really, really tailed off. The last time that we had a podcast, Liverpool were looking like the heavy favorites. They spent all that money. Florian Wirtz, Isak, and what do we have combined? We have Isak has 1 goal, I think, not in the league or something, and
I think Wirtz has nothing.
Wirtz has 1 goal contribution in Europe. I think the win in against the German opposition, was it Frankfurt?
Mm-hmm.
He got on the score sheet there or an assist or something, but that's 1 goal contribution.
You got to go digging for anything.
And when the price tag is triple figures, imagine this player being for. I mean, even to be fair, United, when the people have been flops there, it still becomes a big story. I mean, even more so at Arsenal, the scrutiny. But if a United player was doing this, they'd be getting panned. I mean, look at what's happened with all the players that have been there as of late.
I don't listen to a lot of Liverpool stuff, so I don't know how their fans are feeling, but I know that if we were in that position, we would be feeling really bad right now. And I looked at their incomings, and I thought to myself, we're in for a real battle again. And it doesn't really seem to be working out for them in any of their games.
I love it. I mean, it really does seem to be that the back line's been decimated between Konate forgetting how to play, Virgil not looking interested, and then the new fullbacks that definitely is not the chemistry there. It's all a mess at the back. They're going to get a goal or two. They definitely, it seems like they still have a decent machine going forward, but I mean, if you're leaking goals like that, you're not gonna get anywhere.
Definitely, and I think last season what they really had going for them is they were sort of leaking goals, but they were making up for it. Mo Salah having the season of his life,
right,
scoring goals left and right.
That new hairline did wonders.
Exactly. And
fucking confidence, man.
It's just nothing seems to be, going their way as far as the goals are concerned. I don't know where it's going to come from, if it's not going to come from someone like Wirtz or someone like Isak, and they're not firing right now.
Well, they just got turned over by Manchester City, 3-0 at the weekend. We didn't get the score draw with 8 red cards like we had hoped.
No.
Unfortunately, Erling Haaland is inevitable until he inevitably pulls a muscle or hurts his knee or something. But yeah, they definitely look like the most formidable challenger for us now. Manchester City figuring it out a little sooner than we would have hoped. Beginning of the season, they did not look very good. They looked pretty disjointed, and even in recent weeks when they've been winning, they've still looked like they're missing something. But Erling Haaland's bailed them out by just being a goal machine. A little more concerning images now that seeing the way they beat Liverpool and actually just dominated them. I'm a little more concerned about the challenge that they present to us.
That's how fast things change in football. At the beginning of the season, a couple games in, we were looking at City saying, Is this a step too far for Pep? He's never really had this sort of a challenge in front of him before. And we were saying, oh, Liverpool, they're looking pretty good. And the roles have reversed lately.
How the turntables.
How the turntables, indeed. May they continue to turn for those two and just be a confusing mess for the rest of the season.
One go in form, the other one go off. I mean, honestly, the best case scenario would be it'd actually be really hilarious. And then the way people would talk shit on our title if this were to happen, if City were pushing us the whole way and finally they did something about the charges and they got a point deduction, it'd be really hilarious. And I'd take the title, but of course they'd be like, oh well, Man City this. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck. We were gonna win it anyway. Dock them 20 points. Do it right now. Do it. Even funnier, do it in January or February. Like, hey, they just bought a bunch of new players, and all of a sudden, you're getting relegated, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The point deduction.
I would not get your hopes up, unfortunately.
I would not. Yeah. A little too much money. They're way too tied up. But it's just, when's the other shoe gonna drop?
It seems like never, honestly. Like the further away we get from the initial announcement, the more it seems like nothing really ever happened.
I mean, I guess is it just they want to? I don't know. I guess these are questions that we're probably never gonna find answers to, because do they not want to take a title away from a team that cheated so much in the past? Like they don't want to shame the league and having someone that the most successful team of the past decade was financially doping and doing shit.
I got to imagine that there may be in the back of their mind is some of that happening. We like you said, we don't know for certain, but this is a team that are serial winners. The amount of attention that they've brought to the sport, can't even really be measured. Just look, when I used to be a teacher, you'd look around the school, and a great indication of where the footballing world's hearts were at would be what the kids were wearing.
Totally.
And when I started teaching, it was all Chelsea. When I ended teaching, it was all City. And to a student, it was City.
God. Front runners, but you can't blame them. I mean, look, we were Arsenal fans because we were kids. Who were the best teams? Man United and Arsenal. At least that's what it was, when I started.
True.
And that was the choice. You did not see a single Chelsea kit.
No.
The idea of there being a City kit anywhere was a joke. But I mean that's what success breeds. You get people that follow. People like teams that win. You got good players. You got the best striker in the country, the best striker in the world. You get best players. Yeah. So Ryan Cherokee looks like he's settling in. Jeremy Doku just had his best match I've ever seen him play in this week against Liverpool. I mean, hopefully that kind of form is unsustainable. I'm a little worried because he's kind of at the perfect time and age. It's his third or fourth season now in the Premier League.
He's
fully adjusted. Too. He looks like a monster. The way Saka got bigger and stronger, he looks like he's done the exact same thing. Where he's like, he's not a big guy, but he is so solid and that low center of gravity, that little. I mean, I think calling him a bowling ball is not really a fair depiction, but the way that their strength and their core is and how strong these guys are, when other people try to come in and play against them, it's almost not fair.
No, and that's sort of a hard thing. I just think too, the athlete's mentality, and when you reach that level of comfort with your body, what you can and can't do, what you can't do is sort of nothing. I mean, if you think you can do it, you can do it. And he looked like that in the game against Liverpool. He was just, electric the entire time, looked strong, didn't look tired. And those are lethal combinations for a player to have.
100%. 100%. Well, let's get to our mighty Arsenal, who faced a very stern test away at Sunderland. Still the Stadium of Light? It is, right? Stadium of Light. I was like, they haven't got a new ground. I don't think the relegation would have helped that.
No.
But it's crazy how listen, the turnaround for them. I mean, I know some people had some aspirations for them that, staying up, but the fact that they'd be in the top four, the fact that they'd be, beating big grounds. I mean, they got a good result against City. These kind of things, it's huge for them. I mean, you think about where they were a couple of years ago when that documentary happened to be the same season that they went down. You're just like, wow,
it was low.
To turn it around. Yeah, that was a really low point. And so, I mean, more power to them. I hope they do well in all their other games except for against us, at least against the other top six.
Yeah, they're I've always sort of had I think this happened because of the way that the TV rights started out here when NBC started doing their big push for Premier League soccer. Sunderland were in the Premier League at the time,
right.
And so you saw a lot of promotional stuff for them, and them being one of the smaller teams, I was like, I got a little bit of a soft spot for them, but this weekend I had absolutely no soft spot for them whatsoever. But there's always that newly promoted sides, will they keep it up? And
Yeah.
I think they probably will drop off despite how well they've been doing. When that comes, I don't know, because they do look pretty good. So,
But I don't expect them to fall for the mid-table.
no.
Thinking that they're going to keep it up all year, it's like, Nottingham Forest did last year longer than anyone could have imagined. Like, really, Nuno did such an amazing job to keep them there all the way till the last month or so of the season. I mean, what a shit show that's turned into. But I mean, they've turned it around a little bit the last couple of weeks. But I mean, you just see how quickly that goes. And they got, this year they were in a really huge to start the season. Looked like they're going to get relegated. And they have turned it around a little bit. I mean, I think it's a help that the teams at the bottom are so bad.
Yeah. I mean, look at Newcastle. What's going on there? I mean,
well, once again, it's just like they have European football. They're doing fine in the Champions League, but they can't keep that form up. And you lose the best striker in the league, right? Arguably top two. Their midfield and defense is pretty much still intact, but they're not getting the rub of the green. I was surprised. Dan Burns scored a great header at the weekend to score the first goal, and they were up 1-0 at half or whatever, and they coming back and losing 3-1. I think they were at Brentford, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's more credit to Brentford than anything else, really. But yeah, I mean, just the fact that they getting pushed to where your team and your squad has to play all these minutes, it really taxes a bunch of them. And you look at, the first half for Arsenal against Sunderland, if we hadn't played all week, if there was no Champions League match, we wouldn't have been that leggy in the first half.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we had, 3 away matches, and one of those being a European match in 8 days, and we have a bunch of pretty notable injuries. So, looking at the match this weekend, I'm obviously disappointed, but I feel, and I've heard a lot of people talk about this, the point, given the circumstances, is not the end of the world. And I do feel that way, coming off the back of 3 away games, one in a different country, we got to take what we can.
And the fact that all those players are missing. Because we haven't even mentioned the fact of all the injuries we have. We're missing, six players in the front 6 or so?
Yeah, and you gotta think, if we were playing this match against Sunderland and we were up 2-1, I did, the whole time I was watching the game, I was like, we need a third goal. Third goal, this game is done.
Right.
But all the guys that we would have brought on for that third goal are injured.
Yeah, and then you're talking about Max Dowman, which I think he would have done fine, but it's crazy. I'm going to throw a 15-year-old on this situation. Or you got 18-year-old Ethan Nwaneri. It's not,
it's not the most reassuring, positive substitution you can make.
Really, who's the only other player we could have thrown on? Norgard in midfield, and he's a defensive midfielder?
Yeah.
And really, that's it.
Miles Ben White was available, right? But he pushes up, but not in the way that I think we needed in that moment.
Right.
It is what it is,
Well, let's name the injuries. A lot of them are supposed to be coming back. We have Nani Madueke, who's out. We have Victor Gyökeres, and we have Gabby Martinelli. And then there's a long-term missing of Kai Havertz and Gabby Jesus, who thankfully he's back in training. It's great. I'd love to see a few good minutes from him at some point when he's ready.
Yep.
I don't expect that to be before December, really.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? If he can spell us and by that time is a match fit enough to give us a match here or there, or 60 minutes here or there, that could be huge, because I don't know, they talk about Havertz being back soon, but with all these kind of little niggling things that are long injuries, you always worry about people getting back in and whether they get new strains.
I think that we have the momentum right now, despite the draw this weekend, to get away with, bringing some of these guys on. But really what I want to avoid happening is have any of these injuries take place in the latter half of the season.
Sure.
And if that means not rushing them back right now, I think that we need to take confidence in our performances lately and just go with the flow.
Well, and this is at this point, no one is talking about how many players we bought in the offseason, because literally this is what could have happened to us and you would have had nobody. We would have, if this had happened to us any other year, lost this many players, you're playing children.
You have no team, yeah.
You're playing, whatever Harrison and Noose, he has to start in Premier League games because you have fucking nobody.
Yeah. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was sort of the circumstances that led to Martinelli and Saka being brought into the team when they were younger. we just didn't have the firing power that we needed to get stuff done. But I mean, that was also because we didn't have great players.
Well, it's because they were Willian and Pepe.
Yeah, exactly.
Signing Willian, Jesus Christ, never gonna forget that.
That was one of the, I think, funniest like days in my footballing life. Just in talking with friends and with my brother, just being like, "Is this actual thing that we're doing?" Yep, it is. Okay.
God. And like just like when United sold us like Sylvester, it's like, dude, the guy's washed. Why would Sir Alex give us this guy? Like
that's
like Jose Mourinho at Chelsea. Why is Chelsea gave us Gallas? Why? Because he's a whiny bitch. Like he's not good. Like he's still a really good player, but he's horrible for the locker room.
Yeah,
you can have him. We'll take Ashley Cole. We'll take the best left back in the world.
No, yeah, I'm glad we have moved on from those times, and
we're still buying from Chelsea, but.
At least the ones we're buying are a bit better. In this season's instance, a backup goalkeeper.
And Nani.
Oh, that's right, and Nani. We got to give him a little bit of credit as well, because people were hating on him.
Yeah.
Loads.
And, I think it was more the fact that it was like, well, we need a left-sided winger. And it looks like he can play some over there as well. But it was like, well, we have Saka on that side. Why are we signing his backup? Which, if we weren't, because we signed Eze in the end, I think it's all good, but people would still be complaining this day, even though, right before he got injured, he did start playing for us on the left a little bit, which was kind of expected if Trossard and Martinelli weren't producing. But I'm excited to see him back. I'd like to not have to play Saka 90 minutes every match, alternate who starts some of these games.
That's been a killer for us for a long time. He's just been run into the ground.
Absolutely.
And we need somebody to give him a little relief.
Well, special shout goes out to Leandro Trossard, who was, by many people, ready to be cast away. I'll be first to admit that if we had to sell somebody, I wanted to sell him over Martinelli. I didn't want to sell either one, but I thought that we'd have to do one to balance the books. Once we signed so many guys, once we signed Madueke as well, I was like, oh shit, somebody has to leave. This is too many guys. There aren't minutes, there aren't whatever, but as we've seen in this early season, there's plenty of minutes for everybody because there's tons of fucking injuries. So, I mean, it really seems like, a stroke of genius that we had this kind of squad depth, because we would not have been able to handle this, depth-wise otherwise.
No, and I think that the board and Arteta really knew that. I think if I were Arteta, I'm nowhere near as smart as him, but I would have said, you can't leave me out to dry like this, like I have been. And we see that some of these players that, like you said, were going to be cast aside are coming in clutch for us. Leo's one of those players where when he has a stinker, it's a real stinker, but he's also very clinical. And I think, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but 4 goals, 4 assists, I think, for him this season. And if he's going to come up in big moments, what should have been a game winner this weekend, that's a very useful guy to have on our team.
I mean, he's easily on pace for, double digits goals and assists. We're talking 10 and 12, 12 and 12, 13, or even if it's just 10 and 10. If you use 6 more of each, like that's a great contribution from a guy that's supposed to be just kind of a bit part player, but who has started the majority of our Premier League matches, most of them on the left side, except for, I think, Eze that one time, right?
Yeah.
So... props go out to him. Like people talked about him getting a raise in wages, and it's like, well, yeah, if these kids if he's contributing goals and assists and doing this, like he deserves a pay bump, and he's fully justified it now. And I do think like what we see from him, even if not every performance is amazing, but like that he thinks he's one of the best guys on the pitch.
Yeah.
Like I'm the guy who can put it away, and when you see the way the squad talks about him, that he's one of the like Leo's like the best he knows he's the best finisher of the club.
I was watching, I believe it was Gabriel recently was talking. It was like one of those interviews where he's asked a bunch of questions.
All the different guys.
He mentioned that Leo is like the strongest guy in the squad in terms of, I think, attacking talent, but that he's like a monster. You wouldn't expect it from him given his stature and the role that he necessarily plays, but he can really hold people off.
Yeah, and same thing with that low center of gravity. I mean, think of Arshavin in his pomp. Think of Santi Cazorla, and people with that. I mean, he's not as small as those guys, but it's in a similar sense that like, hey, he's got dynamite in both feet, right? He can hit it either way, and he's lethal in terms of hitting his corners, and like this is the guy you want the ball to fall to in the box, because more often than not, and sometimes you make your own luck. One was a deflected goal, but he's fully confident in his finishing when he gets in that situation, and that's what you need. You need someone there when, honestly, that's the biggest I mean, one of the biggest things that people have criticized Martinelli for is that not being clinical enough in front of goal, not having the composure or making the right move there. And like Trossard will take the extra moment to then cut it back because this side will be better, or whatever it is that he does. It tends to, more often than not, he's making the right decision there.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
I have felt basically the opposite about another player on our squad, somebody that came in this season. I'm wondering how you've been feeling about his performances. Eze.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed in what we've gotten from him. It's definitely been a little bit of an adjustment. I think the difference in style and the way that teams play against you has definitely been a huge factor for that. The way at Palace he'd have space to turn and run. Now you're facing a low block and you're just a piece in the cog rather than just the star figure. Like, I would like to see more from him, especially when he's playing that 10 position for us. But I still think he's deputized admirably, but yeah, I expect more in terms of return, like as far as goal contributions and all that. And I think he's been a little bit unlucky with some, there's been a few good chances, he had a great goal a couple weeks ago, that jumping kick that he did that fired into the corner against his old side, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was great. That was a great moment for him. He really needed that because there hasn't been enough of it. And that's the truth. The truth of the matter is, like, why isn't Eze on at least 10-10 pace? Right? He should be on. That's a guy that we're expecting to be on like a 15-10 pace if he's playing all the time. And Odegaard's been out, so it's not like he's only been getting limited chances. He's playing pretty much every week.
Yeah, I think you touched on it a bit. Just he wasn't used to playing for such a dominant side that controls so much of the game, and like you said, he's sort of just a cog in the system. And that being said, I just don't know that I've been convinced by, like, I don't think he looks convinced when he strikes the ball that it's going to do anything really meaningful, except for against Palace. But that's something I'd really like to see more of, because we know that, like, the moment he finds that flow and that confidence, things will really unlock for not just him, the whole team. I'm just sort of waiting for it to happen.
Sure. Well, it's going to be a good time coming back from this break. The busy holiday period. So let's say Odegaard is back, but I don't think he's the one that we're expecting back after the break, right? I don't think he's.
No.
Yeah. So as he's going to have to continue in that role, and it does seem to make sense. Like, I know that you want to get Ethan minutes, but, like, realistically, we're trying to win the title here, and throwing Ethan in the deep end like this is not necessarily the right decision. I do think he should get more minutes towards the end of the match, especially if Eze is not being as productive as we want him to be.
I agree, and I mean, in deep end, talk about deep ends. When we come back from the break, we have Tottenham, Bayern, and Chelsea.
Yeah, that is the gauntlet. That is the gauntlet. You're getting thrown in deep.
We're gonna know like what we're made of. I think we had a really tough start to the season. We had a favorable run of fixtures.
Right.
Incredibly dominant throughout, but Tottenham are on good form. It's funny, I think their like home and away form is like completely on the other ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Their away form, they're like first in the table, and then their home form, they're like 17th in the table, but they're still doing well.
Well, it's 3 wins in the last 20-something home matches or something like from last season combined to this season, and Thomas Frank still doesn't have a win at home.
Yeah,
he's been booed at 4 out of his 5 home matches or something like that.
They look like they're gonna fall off in many ways, but they also seem to be doing well, and they're up there. Chelsea as well. Bayern are, as far as I'm concerned, the best team in the world aside from us. So it's gonna be a tough run.
I really wish we played Bayern last season before they figured it out.
I know.
I was like, I want to fuck these guys up. We owe them so much for so many years.
It's gonna be exciting though. Like,
that's the 2 best form teams in the world currently. Like, you can't ask for a better pound for pound, like, group stage Champions League matchup than that.
For sure. We just need to make sure that a certain someone does not have a chance to score against us.
Oh boy. You know what? Let him slip right into Gabriel's pocket. I want a man marking that motherfucker the whole time.
100%. Just don't give away the penalty, Gabby, please.
Yeah. Pretty please. He makes all of those.
Yeah.
And especially against us.
Yeah.
Dear Lord. Yeah, that team has really gotten together, and I'm a little surprised. Well, I guess I'm not too surprised, especially because I guess their competition in the league has fallen off a little bit, with Dortmund really not picking it back up, and then Leverkusen just falling off a cliff after Xavi goes, and now
Pretty wild.
they bring in Ten Hag, which is a fucking mess. That lasts, 4 matches?
I gotta wonder how, like, it feels to have come so far as a team, that traditionally is not winning the league, and, like, do it in such a sexy way, and then just, you gut the whole thing. Like, it's gotta be so demoralizing as a fan.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, it just sucks for a club like that, because, I mean, they are, if you look at this like a year ago, you'd be like, that was such an incredibly run club, doing all this stuff the right way. But then it's like, if you're not Bayern and you're in Germany, you're a selling club, right?
It's true.
Even if you're Dortmund, it doesn't matter.
And they sold all right.
They fucking sold. We got Nkapie. I'm glad we got a little piece of that. But yeah, they've literally gutted that team.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad we didn't end up with Florian Wirtz. I would have said something a little different this summer, but not that I mean, I think I still would have had concerns about him adjusting to the league and the physicality and whatnot, but I mean, I would want that level of talent on our team.
It's amazing, like, to think over the last several years how the size of the market, at least the amount we're paying for players, has shifted so much. Because, back in the day, I mean, what was our record signing at one point? It was like 35 million.
Yeah.
Then it was like 40 million. Then it was 50 million. And then now we're in the hundreds of millions for players. And, I mean, aside from Declan Rice, the vast majority of these guys just flop. But the expectations are so out of this world.
Yeah.
It's... we got lucky with that.
I mean, Florian Wirtz would have cost, let's just jump back, 15 years, right? So when Chelsea beat us out to signing Eden Hazard, right? That's the kind of level of prospect he was, coming from Germany or Europe, right?
The best at what he does,
Top level, youth, number 10 kind of guy. That was 30 or 35 million. That's what that was.
Yeah.
I think the fee was agreed with 3 teams, and he chose to go to Chelsea because they were going to pay him the most as well. But that was this was the top creative talent in Europe, looking to go to the Premier League, and that's what it would go for. And now that's 110. Would they pay 110, 115?
110.
Yeah, 110 million pounds sterling.
I think is our highest transfer still Oxlade-Chamberlain, or was it? It was like 35 million or 40 million.
He was our highest out until.
Out, yeah.
Yeah. Did we beat that this year or no?
I'm not sure.
I forget. He might still be the highest outgoing transfer.
Oh man.
Oh wait, but who is it that we got money for this year? Oh, maybe Smith Rowe took it over.
Smith Rowe.
Or it was right around.
It was around the same price, I think. Like we were not operating in those. We're not selling stock anytime soon.
No. Yeah, there's players we could break the record if we wanted. Martinelli's got to go for over 50.
Yeah.
But he's just got to stay actually. But you know what I mean. In such case where that would be a situation.
I think we also forget in the case of like Martinelli. Isn't he like still like 23 or 24?
Yeah, he and Saka both turned 24 during the season.
It's like outrageous. They came to us when they were like babies.
Yeah,
so
exactly. You show up when you're 17, or when you're Saka when you're what, 9 or 10. When you come to join the academy. Yeah, that's some good business, and long may it last. I just saw that video again, which I've seen before. It's an old video, but people asking like, well, would you win the championship this year if it meant you sold Saka in the summer? And the player's like, no, dude, we're not going to give up Saka. Like, that's not worth it. And it's like, yeah, dude. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people might say have a different answer for that, but like, this is our guy, and as long as he wants to be here, like, he's literally one of the world's best, and it's finally being accepted, right? And like now, last year I had to go back because I was saying that Saka was going to be better than Salah. He's going to be number 1 in that position, and Salah had last season.
Yeah.
But this fucking year I stand by it. Salah doesn't have shit on Saka.
No,
not anymore. Not anymore. Last year he had his fucking year, but that's.
That was outrageous.
That's his Indian summer. That's his hairline fucking creation.
I mean, he had the best season that any player could possibly think of having in their life, and it happened at the absolute wrong time for us. Yeah. But that's life. We move.
Indeed. And so I guess we haven't gotten to the details of that match. Let's go a little bit over the Sunderland match. We playing a depleted lineup. We come from behind. You have kind of a little bit of a slow first half, which you think you probably have some heavy legs left over from Champions League midweek. Not threadbare squad, but definitely depleted. A lot of people with a lot of minutes in their legs out there. But I really feel like the fight back in the second half was, one, worthy of a victory. Like they came out and played their fucking ass off, and 2, like the quality in the goals. We were discussing earlier, Saka taking that on his right foot, and that's something he's done a lot more of the past couple seasons. And that that's thousands of hours devoted to strengthening his right foot, making it better. And, he doesn't look like a natural on that side, but he now knows how to hit it so well. How many of those do we see where he blasts it low right or blasts it above the keeper's shoulder? The unsavable position at near post.
Near post, all right. There's such a tight angle on that shot, and it's one where, like, if he's unlocking that from his game, scoring incredibly tight angles, unsavable shots with his weak foot, and he's doing it regularly, hopefully, that's going to take his game up a serious level. And then, we mentioned it a touch earlier too, but with Trossard's goal, he has this confidence about him and this ability to sort of slow the game down a little bit so he can see that next move. And, our blog always talks about it, those rising shots, and I agree. I mean, there's nothing sweeter to it.
Yeah, like a net burster like that, like really, pulls the metal off the ground, like really busts the net. Only thing that could have been better is if he glanced off the crossbar.
Hear that little rattle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shots go out to Zubimeni that almost had one hell of a goal like that.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We had multiple opportunities in that game that I really thought were going to convert. There was that. There was another shot that sort of went across. I forget who it was that sort of rolled across the face of goal and just barely hit the far post. At the end, there was that Rice shot, which was like a couple feet away, but on camera it looked like it was going in. I think there were moments where, as you mentioned, I think we're supposed to win that game, but a couple of sort of freak errors and then a deflection, was our undoing, unfortunately.
But you know what? A point is a point. It ends a really good run of games. Like you said, the schedule's been favorable to us as of late. If you told someone beforehand that that's the point total you would take from that period, you would have bit their hand off,
I don't. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't understand. I do understand being upset, especially a late equalizer game we probably should have won.
Yeah, it's a gut punch to give it up in the last 3 minutes.
It is, but
losing 1-0 at halftime.
Exactly. And, to come away from this run with, we get 1 point, we win all of our other games, we don't concede in any of those games, that's a pretty unbelievable run of form. And if any of our rivals were doing that, we'd be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, and with, the way everyone was talking about our defense before this match. So, we finally gave up 2 in a match, which hadn't happened at all this season, right? Yeah. So it felt very weird to concede a second goal after, conceding any. Yeah. It felt kind of crazy. But that was always going to happen at some point, and the second goal, like we talked about, is a bit, it's lucky. The deflection, if Ryan doesn't come out, he catches it. If it doesn't deflect off Gabriel, he catches it. He blocks it. These things are going to happen, and you have to deal with it. But the way that our defense is playing, and I've been saying this for a while, as everyone has, seeing us play, we have the best depth I've ever seen in the history of Arsenal. Like, I can't think. There's been times we've had the rotation, like 4 to 6 defenders that were amazing, but like literally 8-9 defenders that we have that are all you could plug and play any of them.
Yeah, we're comfortable.
And I believe it's like we haven't seen enough from Nkapie, but does anyone doubt him? Does anyone doubt his quality? I don't think anyone does.
No, I mean that was back in the day. You'd see Lichtsteiner warming up, and you're like,
Dear
what?
Lord.
We're doomed, right? And we don't have that feeling anymore. We feel very secure. I think
no Sylvester coming in at left back.
Yeah, the only thing that like I am a little concerned about, I'm wondering how you feel about it, is it seems like we sort of first half where our foot is very much so not on the gas, as much as it could be. Second half we come out and it's like a different game entirely. And I'm wondering if you think that there's a real, like that's a really deliberate thing from us, or if it's something that we're struggling to do in games to really get things going right away.
I mean, I think, I don't think Arteta tells them to not go out and go for it in the beginning. I mean, there's obviously, there probably has been at some point, and there definitely was against Liverpool, like a sense of caution. Like, and same thing with City in the beginning. Like, you don't, like how many times have you shot ourselves in the foot and like giving up a goal early? And so there's been that kind of trepidation, right? A little caution over going for it too much and leaving yourself open and getting ripped, which against City, that did happen, right? First chance, one ball through to Erling Haaland, onto a goal, and that's really the only clear chance they had, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a bit of that in those games. In the other matches against the, so-called smaller opposition, I don't think is that much of a thing. I think there's just, teams understand how difficult it is to play against us now, and they're putting up the fight of their lives. And in the first half, when everyone's tight, when everyone's fresh, it's just much harder to deal with that. We've seen that against, the way teams would defend in a low block against the best Alex Ferguson sides, against our good sides back then. That it is a tactic that, you keep it tight until, just they try to get lucky and get one on the break. They're not trying to do anything specifically adventurous. And so we're, and that just takes putting an hour of running into their legs. You defend for your life for an hour, you're pretty fucking tired.
Yeah.
And everyone knows if you're chasing the ball for an hour, you're fucking exhausted. If you have the ball for an hour, you're still good to go. So, if you're running like 60-40 possession against that and they're getting tired and having to make last-ditch challenges, that's...
And we know historically, like, I think Arteta, he probably would say the same thing, but, like, the one thing that he maybe struggles the most with as a manager is breaking down those really... we're doing it, obviously, but
right.
Breaking down those really low blocks where it seems like every single player and their mom is there, trying to defend the goal.
Yeah, they're all within 20, 25 yards of the box. You know, like there might be a couple outside of the box, but literally 5 yards.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think I'm not too worried about it either, just because I think we're getting the results, and it's a little bit of, we need to sort of chip away at things, and like you said, sort of tire them, really, is what we're doing. But yeah, in the case of this weekend, I think we had the opportunities to close it out earlier. It didn't happen for us, and then Raya comes out. If he hadn't come out, maybe we're not having this conversation. Right. But this is a guy who we so frequently ask to come out and dominate the area.
And to be fair, he made a couple fantastic saves in the 5-10 minutes prior to preserve that lead.
Exactly. Between
Trossard's goal and that moment. And those are not saves that I think everybody makes. The double save at the back post, the coming out and smothering the opportunity by the next guy after that layoff. That's great keeper work. And yeah, like you said, when you go for it, it's occasionally shit happens and it takes a bad deflection. So you got to roll with it. I guess special shout out to Dan Ballard, right? Former Arsenal Academy player, which we all learned as of this weekend. Came out, scored a fucking screamer, one timer off the short hop. And then also, when we're looking back at those highlights of those shots, him diving out and, making the clearance while they were still leading, and also when it was 1-1 and we're looking for the winner, he was making heroic clearances like a guy that's playing, likely this is going to be the best match he's ever played in his life.
Yeah.
And like I said, it'd be great to see him play some more matches like this against our, fellow top 6 opponents. I hope he remembers that he played for Arsenal when he faces them, because I'm sure he'd rather us win than Chelsea, City, or, any of these other clubs.
But I wonder how much, everybody was talking about how he used to be at Arsenal and whatnot. I wonder how much of it was that he was actually, an Arsenal player at one point, no first team appearances, and how much of it was just Granit Xhaka.
Just Granit Xhaka.
He's such a commanding figure and voice in the dressing room, and I imagine he talked to them a long time about what to do and what to expect in that game. And I think to a man that their team played really well. I don't think it was just Ballard, but he had those really heroic moments that bailed them out. Sure. There was that save towards the end of the game as well. I thought it would be a winner. He throws his body in front of the ball, and we're sitting here having this conversation.
Right.
But I'm glad Granit didn't score.
Yeah, me too. that helped a lot. And when he got he got an early yellow as well. Like, it was in the first half. After Zubimendi got one, then he got one. I'm like, all right, we need Zubimendi to not get sent off, and we need Xhaka to get sent off, because that would be the most Xhaka performance ever. Like 60 amazing minutes and then a dumb second yellow.
There was that moment with Marino when Marino was like rolling around on the ground, and he was like, "Get the fuck up!" And I was like, "Get angry, Granit. Get more angry."
Yeah. But he kept it in check. And to be fair, for the last few years, he's been good about keeping that. He rides that line, but he's been able to keep it without getting too many reds as of late. I don't think I saw him get sent off in Germany. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think he did. And the last like 2 seasons with us, there was maybe one situation, I think.
Yeah.
And that definitely felt like an egregious one that was a reputation kind of card or some bullshit, not him really doing something that bad.
Well, a lot of the dark Granit moments were really when we just had a shit squad, and he
deserved to play in a better team than that.
Yeah. He really did. Whether he was putting in the best performance of his life.
He's playing with Frimpong behind him or Coquelin, which no shade to Coquelin, but Frimpong not that great of a footballer.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying, like he wears his heart on his sleeve, and I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah. Well, he was a great servant. I'm glad they didn't beat us. I'm definitely glad he didn't get on the score sheet. But we can put Sunderland behind us. There's not too much to be, to worry about with them anymore. We'll face them again at the Emirates later this season. But now we move on to the North London derby. Are we home or away? Do you know?
I think we're away for that game, if I'm not mistaken.
I kind of like that because they still.
Oh no, we're home.
We're home. I was gonna say I kind of like the idea of playing them away with the record being so shit there. So on form, they're much better away.
They are, but I think what do they say? Form goes out the window in a derby. Certainly this one.
Yeah, definitely. And coming back after the break, we're going to have some more attacking options back, right? So we're expecting to see Gyökeres and maybe Madueke and Martinelli. I think that's kind of what's rumored, that those guys might be back and ready. Who knows how many of them are ready to start. I would guess that if Gyökeres is ready, that he will get the start because we don't want to start with Marino at center forward.
Yeah, Marino's a bit of a weird one, I mean, when a guy scores that much, you have to think about starting him up there, but he looks like he doesn't know what he's supposed to do.
But then, he crops up in the right in a certain moment, and all of a sudden he plays well. So, I don't think it's good for our football to have him playing there, but, in a pinch, it's okay. But I think with the other guys, you can kind of break them in a little more easily. You stick with Trossard, scored that beautiful goal that should have been a winner. You still start Trossard, you start Saka, you have Madueke and Martinelli off the bench, which that's the kind of shit we're talking about. That's the depth that we wanted, where, hey, these are the guys. We can bring on two killers.
I think that's what, at the beginning of the season, you look at this and you say, what's going to win us the league? And I think it's being able to, obviously our stars contribute, but being able to bring on talent like that are ferocious off the bench, that go at tired legs, like that's going to be the difference maker for us.
Yeah, I think bringing like 8s off the bench, not 6s or 7s. You know what I mean? As far as like, hey, this guy's actually he should be starting in any team. It's just that Saka's ahead of him, and that's why he's not playing.
It's a good problem to have.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh well, Trossard has 4 goals and 4 assists already this season. That's why Martinelli, who scored in 3 Champions League games, can't get a start. I was like, well, these are the kind of problems we want. That's what we want going into this. We're coming off the back of Spurs hilariously fucking up in the last second and giving 10 Men United for the second time in 2 years, a last second equalizer. Mm-hmm. Richarlison also celebrating a goal in the 90th minute, taking his shirt off and getting yellow card for it. Second time.
As he does.
God, all-time fucking idiot team. Like, he's top of that 11.
It's so funny how many people I talk to that, even if they know ball just like slightly, they're like, I fucking hate Richarlison.
Well, he's got a cunt of a face. Like, he's so punchable. Like, that guy, like he's maybe more punchable than, I don't know. But, like, he's got that face that's just like a total asshole.
Yeah.
Like, how could anyone even his own team like this guy? Like,
yeah, he's an interesting one, but I feel that way about so many of their players. It's like when a player goes to Tottenham, obviously you immediately start disliking them. When they're shit, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Xavi Simons does not look good.
No, he does not. Yeah, I love his form there. It's great. That should continue at least for a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mickey Van de Ven had his, everyone slobbered over his Champions League goal midweek. Hopefully that means he's due for another one of his hamstrings. We shall see.
I still, I think they have a couple of quality players like Mickey that can be the difference maker for them. But, we're looking at a team that, like we were talking about earlier, very lopsided performances in terms of, their home form is terrible. Their away form is great. That can change on a moment's notice.
Sure.
And I think coming to the Emirates, especially if we have some of these injured guys back, that's a game we should win. I expect us to.
Absolutely.
And I going into derbies, over the years, my confidence has teetered and tottered, as they say, and lately it hasn't. I just feel like we'll be the team on top.
I certainly hope so. And their form's so inconsistent. I definitely don't like the fact that Thomas Frank has gone there because he seems to be a pretty good dude. But I'm happy it's not going swimmingly for him. It's not all roses over there. That's for sure. He's got a lot of work to do. And like I said, he's been booed at the majority of his home performances at the end of the match.
Well, I think, looking across the league, certainly at the teams that we would consider like our main competition, that's something that you could sort of say about really all of them. Like, there's no, aside from City, looking like they've gotten their shit together lately, I don't really look at a lot of these teams and think to myself, like, they really know what they're doing completely. They figured each other out. The only team I can look at and say they know what they're doing, they figured it out, is us. Really,
Right.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah. And yeah, that's where I want to be the rest of the season, looking down from the top of the league, top of the table. And yeah, that's, let's send him home angry. That's what I want. Send him home with a nice little pat on the ass, like, hey, take your ass whoop and go home. I'd love for it to go back to the days. Like, when I first started supporting Arsenal, Wenger didn't lose to Tottenham for 10 years.
Yeah.
A decade of which they never fucking beat him.
Yeah.
I don't think Tottenham ever beat Thierry Henry.
I don't think so.
I think it's something like that because that's during that stretch.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And then unfortunately, they had the Kane Son duo that really carried their asses for many years.
For the better part of a decade.
Yeah, at a time when, to be fair, we were just at our sort of lowest in this Emirates era.
Right.
Couldn't defend our way out of anything.
Yeah, out of a paper bag.
Wet
paper bag.
Yeah.
That's. And I'm glad those days are gone. Special shout out to our number 6, the King of Brazil, being our player of the month for October for Arsenal. Definitely deserves it. The performances on from both ends of the field. I mean, like, as smooth and silky as Saliba is, you have to say over the past year that, like, there's one guy that looks like the most commanding center back in the world, and that's Gabriel. And I think that's reflected in the fact that he's now starting more for Brazil, the national team. And, like, the way that people look at him and revere him, like in the team, like, he's such a strong leader. Like, he's everything you want in a passionate defender, like he's that guy.
We talk a lot about having a center back partnership, and that's obviously incredibly important. But when you have individual character like you have in someone like Gabriel, and lately I've really been enjoying watching his interviews. His English is much better, so
Sure.
he's really able to talk about the game and about his teammates in a way that. He just loves Arsenal so much, and he loves his teammates so much. He wants to put himself on the line. He wants to get in front of the balls. He wants to be scrappy. It's everything you could really ask for from a defender. And I joke a lot when people ask me about, like, betting on soccer, which I typically don't like to do, but I'm like, Arsenal money line, Gabriel header. You'll make your money.
You want to stack something there? This is his nice little 2-piece.
Yeah, but no, he's just an imperious guy, and it's been really a joy to see him. Obviously Saliba was the talked about one for, he still is, but for many years they were like, God, this guy's going to be the shit, and he is, but to have somebody like Gabriel surpass him, like you said, this season at least, it's kind of an incredible situation for us to be in.
And let's look at, when we're making predictions about this week, I'd be remiss to say how many goals that Gabriel has scored. I think he has 2 or 3 man of the match performances against Tottenham in the derby.
Yeah.
And game-winning headers on corners on several of those.
I would not be surprised. He's everywhere. He's everywhere, and that's all you can ask for.
Well, you heard it here. Arsenal money line and Gabriel to score.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the bet this week, fellas. Yeah, honestly. So yeah, we got on the Pintcast we always make predictions. I figure that's going to be in yours. It's probably going to be in mine. What do you say for the match come here in a week and a half?
I don't want to let this weekend really interfere with how I've been feeling about this team. And had you asked me a week ago, I would tell you the same thing. I still just don't think that we look like we're going to lose many games. It doesn't look like we're going to get scored on. And in this weekend, it was a couple of weird moments that led to the goals that Sunderland had. I think we win against Tottenham. I think we win against Chelsea. And I think we do so comfortably. They're going to be tough. I don't want to take away from that whatsoever. But I do think that we just have the grit, we have the tenacity to get it over the line in both those instances. The only one I'm slightly worried about is the Bayern match, but just because of how big of an occasion it is, because there's that history with them of getting slapped. I don't think we're going to get slapped, obviously, but going to a team like that or having them come to us, really, it's just a big moment and a big occasion. But if we can swat aside Real Madrid, we can swat aside Bayern Munich.
Totally. And yeah, they're undefeated to start the season. They did just drop points for the first time in the Bundesliga over the weekend. Very lucky to get a last-minute equalizer with against, I think they're playing Union Berlin, I believe. And I watched that match, and it was good, and they looked pretty strong in it, but there were cracks. There's a couple weaknesses. And I think they're gettable. I think there's a vulnerability there that's just not getting tested as much. Like, they haven't faced a test like us.
No. And
nothing close.
Well, and that's an interesting thing. Like, I like I was sort of just saying, like, I know, and obviously we drew this game, but we don't look gettable.
Right. No one thinks we're gettable.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for that match because, that's a different league. I don't want to take away from their skill and how well they're doing. They're obviously an incredible force, but the Premier League, I think, just as a whole, we know this. It's a different beast.
Well, that's what we've seen. Every time we go in to play any team in Europe over the past really 2 years, but especially last season and this, like, we blow teams out of the water. They can't handle other than that PSG match. Like, there's no one that's been able to handle the pressure and the intense, like, the suffocation that happens.
Yeah.
When this big formidable Arsenal just put the squeeze on you. It's relentless.
It's like a python grip.
Yeah,
nothing you can do.
Yeah, it's just slowly tightening. You feel like you're in the trash compactor in Star Wars. It's like the ceiling's coming in. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about having this international break when it is. I think we needed it because this weekend we just looked a little leggy. We have these injuries, but to be able to rest, and I know we're coming into this hard run of fixtures off the back of a draw. But I think this rest and perspective and players hopefully coming back means that when we go into these, we're just firing on all cylinders. That's my hope.
Yeah, and I think the benefit of not having to say, like, because let's say 2 of those 3 players would have been fit enough to make the bench this weekend, but you don't have to rush them.
Yeah.
An extra 7-10 days, whatever, for them to rest or to train, but to do things under controlled circumstances and continue to get them ready. It's like they could be ready in 6 days, but what if we gave them 14?
Where did they go? What was it, Dubai last year?
Yeah, they did another little Dubai trip.
And that was when we had that nice little bounce, and everybody was joking, go back, go back.
Right, go back.
Maybe they should go do that again.
Well, that was 2 years ago too, right? 2 years ago was when we went that big run at the second half of the season where we should have taken it. Fucking City.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I think that being in that position and not have to play through this weekend puts us in such a better situation. And because also in all these other breaks, all of these players that have been injured have been needing to go or have, because of their status as international players, have all had to go and play multiple matches, I mean, unfortunately, Declan Rice isn't going to fucking rest. Our horseman.
I know. I don't know how, this weekend I was talking to a friend when we were watching the match. Normally, he's a guy who I don't really see any sign of tiring from. Yeah. He looked fucking gassed this weekend.
And he was still running around. He was gassed. You're like, Jesus, he's still going.
It's amazing to have a player with that level of ambition, but, like, the guy needs a break desperately.
Yeah. Please. Can you put him on a beach? Tuchel will never fucking do that, but come on, bro. Yeah. These are one of these friendlies, like, let him sit one of these matches out, pretty please.
It reminds me of.
I plead you.
It reminds me of years ago. I forget what season it was. Maybe 2016, 17. Alexis just.
Oh yeah.
He played until his feet were not working anymore, and I just don't know how the fixture congestion. I don't know how the people that plan these matches don't take into consideration what some of these stars that are the big money makers for the leagues are doing. During
that stretch with us, there was like back-to-back, like you had Copa America, World Cup, Copa America, because there's the Copa America Centenario. So it was all lumped in, 0 summers off, and he played through all those with us, and then we sold him to United.
Yeah. And he was shit.
We got out at the right fucking time, because we knew he was getting run into the ground. Like there was just like, he's playing 70 matches a season.
No, it was unbelievable. I could not wrap my head around it. And I just, like I said, like from a matchmaking perspective, like people want to see these big guys play. I understand they want to see them play at the international level too, but there has to be a balance of some kind. These are human beings here.
Well, that's where it's just too bad there's not as much of like an organized union for these guys. I mean, I know there's representation and they're well compensated, so not too many people are crying tears. These guys that have to play another match of football too. It's like, but dude, they talked about it, and as much as I hate this motherfucker, like Rodri talked about it before he tore his ACL against us last season. That it's just not fair that they're gonna have to organize and do something. That's really what it's gonna take. Like, bro, you can't. Like, when do I take a break? Like, my body needs a month off. I need 4 fucking weeks to rest, not 2 weeks when I have to when I'm finishing playing some fucking tournament and my team's already back in training, and then I get 2 weeks off, but I have to come back to a team that's already been training for this whole time.
Yeah.
Like you take the time off, you're behind when you get back.
And then it's just another instance of having to sort of rework your squad.
Yeah.
And
well, that we saw the fatigue. Declan Rice had that burnout fatigue from the summer football, and Bukayo with the injuries he's dealt with, it's the same kind of thing. Like these things manifest themselves through injuries like this and through fatigue, and it's like, yeah, you're punished for being so good.
Yeah.
You just got to be a tank. You just got to be able to go through it, which is just crazy.
You got to go through it. It's one of the things this summer. Just they knew that they needed reinforcements, and these are not like for like. You all good?
Yeah.
These are not like for like.
I didn't fall.
You need help down there?
Hey.
We don't have necessarily like for like replacements and all of these guys, but at least we have replacements, which we didn't in the past.
And they're quality replacements.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that, the depth that we have, that's why people are backing us now to win the league. And, I think in years past, some of the pressure has shown, but I don't think that the pressure of being favorites is going to get to them this year. Like they've been there, they've been so fucking close. Sure, you know why we're favorites? Because we're fucking better than them. I think they believe that. Whereas before, City are still this giant. They're this, but City came out and played scared against us this year. When have you ever seen them do that shit?
No, I mean we just look a different animal, and I think there's a lot of talk about this season. I can't even believe I'm saying this because people have been talking about it. But like, if Arteta doesn't win the league this year, do they keep him?
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, like
I know. It's such a stupid question.
On what planet are you living? Of course you keep him. If you would, I know he's been here for what five seasons at this point.
Yeah.
3 seasons ago, if you had told me we'd be where we are, I would have had you committed.
Yeah.
It's just like we're really operating at such a high level now that I think we have what it takes, and if we don't, which will suck. We're gonna get it.
We'll just win the Champions League.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll settle for the Champions League then that year. That's okay. Okay.
Maybe the World Series next year.
We'll take the big years. Yeah, I know I'm greedy. We just got the World Series, but I want more.
Oh yeah, I know. I want more.
It's one of those things, man. You get it. You just want more of it. It's intoxicating.
Especially when one of those teams just hasn't for so long. It's coming. It's coming.
It certainly is. Well, it's been great talking to you. Let's talk a little bit about what we have coming up. So there's a food drive going on at the pub, right?
Yeah.
So if you come to visit, if you're in Los Angeles, going to come out and watch a match, join us at Arsenal Los Angeles at the Fox and Hounds. There is a canned food drive going on. You want to tell a little more about that, Taylor?
Yeah, I think this is maybe the 3rd or 4th year we've done it. Last year we worked with a great food bank in the San Fernando Valley called MEND. It stands for Meet Each Need with Dignity. They're an awesome organization serving families across the San Fernando Valley, but they're located in Pacoima. And we will be collecting canned food, boxed pasta, anything like that's dry and closed, no glass containers, at every Arsenal match until I believe it's December 6th. Okay. So, some food drives, they do it for Thanksgiving, but we want to make sure families for the holidays have food. So we do it into December, drop it off just before like Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa time. And yeah, it's been really successful. Please donate. I know it's rough right now with the cost of goods for everybody, but
and the recent developments with the SNAP benefits, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so anything you could do is hugely appreciated. Last year we dropped off like 400 pounds of food. It was pretty insane. That's great. And I hope to top that this year.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and then this is a little getting ahead of myself here, but we last year also threw a holiday party just for Arsenal LA community members to come together and hang out outside of the pub and bring their families if they want, and that was at McLeod Ale Brewing in Van Nuys. I'm not sure if that's where we're going this year, but it's definitely something that we're talking about and planning. Okay, great. So once that's announced, I'll get it out there on the Instagram and let everybody know.
Perfect. Yeah, I look forward to that. Get out, join all of us to watch the matches. I will definitely be at the pub for the Champions League match against Bayern. I might be in Vegas for this next match with the Sin City Gooners.
Yeah.
And they'll be watching at the Jackpot Bar and Grill, I believe.
Looks like a cool spot. Yeah.
It's excited to check it out. I've only been to the Crown and Anchor before. So, yeah, they got a new spot and a new revamped group. And, I look forward to meeting the people that run it out there. I have been very fortunate since the last time we spoke here on the podcast that I've been able to go travel and visit a few other Gooners in other states, other countries. Shout out to the guys in Miami. They showed me a great time. Music festivals, food, drink, all that good stuff.
Great guys.
Love them. Great stuff. The Gooners in Colombia, they were very welcoming to me in Medellin, and it's great to see groups out there of whatever size, but getting together to watch matches, around the world, across the country, and that, this bond that ties us is something that it's really global, and it's a beautiful thing to have. So I'm really appreciative of that.
It is. It's, I really urge, having been a part of Arsenal America for years and been branch manager it's been like almost 8 years at this point.
Yeah.
One of the things I always tell people is, the amount of people I still meet that don't really know that there are Arsenal supporters clubs, but are Arsenal supporters themselves is crazy. And, you can go onto Arsenal's website, you can go onto arsenalamerica.com, and these are listed there for you. It's regularly updated. And I urge you, if you're listening to this and you haven't gone before, although chances are you have, find your local supporters pub and go hang with them. You're going to make some great friends and have a good time.
Absolutely. Well, you can follow Arsenal Los Angeles on Instagram at Arsenal Los Angeles. And, yeah, you can follow everything there. Get ready for the meetups. Whichever branch, whatever side of town you're on, there's something for you. We have people. Southern California has like 6 groups in it.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing, man. Like, we're now, there's so many groups that cover the city. So you got the East Side Gooners, you got the West Side Gooners, you have us. You even have OC and Long Beach, and then now there's an Inland Empire.
Oh, Gooners. Yeah, they got Inland Empire
so
going.
You're really covered here, and they're all wonderful groups. Definitely wherever you are, check them out.
Yeah, get out and connect, and that's the best time. That's the best element of this, really, is to be able to share that love for Arsenal with the people, and get together and celebrate these things together. And this is a good year to be celebrating. Get out and join people for that. Watch us win a title. Get after it. And
a Champions League.
And a Champions League, sorry. And the big years. We need the big years. Haven't seen that one yet. I want that one. Give me that. Pretty please. So until next time, we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me.